Hello and good day. Today we're going to create an urban scene like this. The first thing we do is take a look to see. Let's see what our frame looks like. It's 640 by 128, and it's in shadow. That's the image we have. But to get started, I press Alt and S, Alt and P, Alt and P, Alt and P. Our grid contrast is in the first tab, the first layer. I go to the primary section, like wheels, open up the layers, and pull the gains up to 896. I lift the shadows to 128. Then, in the next tab, I go to the curves section, turn on the points, and from the default characters, I pull the shadows down a bit. Thanks, I add a bit of shine. In this section, let's go to HDR. We pull the shadow down to 0, and on the other side we keep the light at 896. In the next tab I use sharpness for my work. Keep in mind that sharpness must definitely be added in light contrast. Now let's go to the primary section, and here we go to the log wheel. Now I bring the shadow back up to 128 to create a white haze over the work. For the highlight I set it to 196. Moving on to the next layer, now the name of my scene. The first thing we need to do here is to lock in all the work we did in the contrast section. I want to apply contrast again here. Now the contrast is fully set on the footage. Moving on to the next part, I press Alt S. We adjust the saturation curve, and you can see that there's some noise in the image, and at this stage that's normal. I press Alt S on the image, and next we move into the color grading section. Now here, it's really up to you how you want to do the color grading. We can, for example, add a bit of blue to the image if we want. I increase the hue by 15 and boost its saturation. I go to the next tab and again make some adjustments in the hue and saturation section. In the next step, I thoughtfully and carefully add a bit of yellow to everything. So I pick the highlights. Here I add the yellows as well. I increase that bar a bit more so it becomes more noticeable. In this part, I don't increase the saturation too much, because in the next section I'll add the effects, but I won't add bloom in the effects section. You can take exactly these parts and with the adjustments you want, achieve what you're aiming for. It's looking good so far, so I'll go ahead and open up the effects panel, and then I'll move on to the next section of the process. And also one radial blur. And I'll add a mask to the layer, then import it into the panel and carefully adjust their pass IDs as needed. We can apply the light graphics in any way we like. It's not necessary for the work. I know I've already talked about it enough, actually. You can control it directly in the layer. In the next section, we can confirm the contrast we've applied a bit. You can do that either with a curve or directly with any layer. They enter in a rather bad way, and here you can actually write this tree almost like a film. In the white programs, you are able to carefully adjust all the differences that this work might possibly have. We add a bit of nostalgia to the work. In the next step, I'll move on. We'll leave the effects behind. In this section, we can intensify the effects we like, however we want. Here, I'll take the saturation and adjust it as needed. The skin has been taken out, which was an important step in our process. I want to highlight how significant this action is for our progress. In the other edits, I hope we can achieve something valuable here as well, by applying the same careful attention and thoughtful approach. By working together and focusing on our goals, I am optimistic that we will see positive results from these changes too. To check, we can try out a few different colors. Whichever color we use will give us the vibe of movies from the 1980s or 1950s, and we can recreate that feeling in this way.